Veritas, truth, simple and to the point. James O'Keefe started, like so many good Americans, with student activism. And like anyone else, when you do something well and it works, people join in and help. Andrew and I love the work he does. Many of you do. He needs very little introduction, but Project Veritas is all you need to remember. And then it starts and the truth comes out. James O'Keefe, come on up here, man. Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here in South Carolina. I have a lot to tell you. As you can see on the screen, our new story this past week on Common Core was a big hit, and I'm going to show you some videos on that in a moment. But before I get started, I just want to say that Veritas, Latin word for truth, we believe that the truth is more powerful than anything, that the reality of things is more powerful than trying to convince people. But the American people don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happening in the back rooms. And it's our job to inform them. It's our job to educate them. And we believe that if the people actually knew what was happening, they would revolt. There'd be a revolution in this country, right? If people actually knew what was happening. So it's our job is to expose what happens, is to go in the back rooms and inform the American citizens in their own words, not what we described. Now, yesterday, Donald Trump gave a speech. Did you see that speech here? And Donald Trump said that, he said about Common Core specifically, he said they don't care about kids. He said they don't care about your kids in South Carolina. So what we did is we went undercover, like we do, with those little hidden cameras that are on our Blazer, and we showed Common Core executives on tape saying that they hate kids. And I have a little video here. Hopefully it works. And this is the executive accounts manager on the West Coast. She handles all of the textbook sales out there, saying, "I hate kids." And we're going to play it for you.
Again, money.
You seem like you're in it for the kids, though. You seem like, I mean, I don't...
hate kids. It's all about the money. What are you, crazy? It's all about the money. You don't think that the educational publishing companies are in it for education, do you? No, they're in it for the money.
You seem like you're in it for the kids, though. You seem like, I mean, I don't...
hate kids. I'm in it to sell books. Don't even kid yourself for a heartbeat.
I'm in it to sell books. Don't kid yourself for a heartbeat. Now, none of that probably surprises you, but it's still worth exposing. And this was an official who basically said that the only reason they were implementing these standards is to just make a profit. And these companies are not just for-profit companies. They're using taxpayer dollars to mandate a curriculum. Now, the reaction was that Houghton Mifflin fired this official within a day. And so what Andrew Breitbart taught me is that, who knows who Saul Alinsky is? Saul Alinsky, right? And we know that he was a mentor to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, but he's also a mentor of mine. And one of the things that Saul Alinsky said is keep the pressure on. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. We are using their tactics against them. So, as soon as they fired the first lady, I said, okay, Veritas team, it's time to release the second video. And the second video, by the way, Pearson, the largest boogeyman, Common Core, responds, says this is abhorrent. The comments in this video in no way represent our values. They are offensive to our employees. By the way, I think it's ironic. I actually think it does represent their values. This woman was fired for telling the truth. But what we do is we release the first one, we get a reaction, And then we released the second one. And there's a lot of headlines. She was fired, of course. Washington Post cover story. Breitbart taught me that, you know, the media will cover it. The media will cover it if they're forced to cover it. But that's what we have to do. We have to force the media to cover it by exposing the reality. And then we go to the second video. And it's the next slide here. And this is another executive at the same company.
There's always money in it because kids are great, but it's not always about the kids. It's never about the kids.
It's slapping a new name on it, which in my case, I hope they do, because then I can sell a shit ton of training around whatever you're calling it.
If it does change, there's still money in it because it's the same stuff.
There's always money in it. It's never about the kids.
It's never about the kids. Well, guess what Houghton Mifflin did? They just fired this lady, too. And then you have another statement reported. So, I mean, we can do this all year. I could just keep releasing videos and they keep firing all their 40,000 employees until someone in Washington, D.C. pays attention. And I can tell you that we have another video coming out this week. And this is the statements. I'm going to blur the face out because I don't want to give it away. But the Common Core official says the dead white guys did not create this country. They talk about the ideological components in Common Core. They talk about needing to teach children about prostitution in the Wild West and chlamydia and other issues. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but we've got many more videos coming out on this subject. And how many of you remember, let's see, how many remember that? So that actually, you know, I'm sure you've seen, this is about 5 years ago, me posing as the pimp, going into ACORN with the young lady posing as a prostitute. Hannah Giles was her name. That was actually my grandmother's chinchilla coat. And, you know, I needed to look like a pimp, and I needed a wardrobe. So, you know, with a little thrift and creativity, you really can do something. And by the way, that was investigative journalism the New York Times couldn't do no matter how many times they mortgaged their building. I mean, that cost me $3,000 to do, that story. And Congress was controlled by Democrats at the time, House and Senate. President Obama actually signed legislation to take away funding from ACORN after we did those videos. I don't even believe it matters who's in power. I know it's important to me. I believe that what matters is we got to expose the rot and the corruption. And if we do that, no matter who's in power, we'll be forced to respond. That's what happened with those videos. Barack Obama said, well, I think the videos are inappropriate. And they defunded ACORN. And I'm telling you, we're going to keep releasing these Common Core videos until we get a reaction from these politicians. We're also doing stories on voter fraud. This is a video where we actually, in the Carolinas, in North Carolina, we actually went into the polls using the names of dead people and people who haven't voted in a while, and they offered me these people's ballots. And I have a brief clip to play you here. This is from, and I apologize for my bad North Carolina accent.
Sign this and then I can vote?
Yep.
I sign this there, then I can go vote, go get a ballot to vote, right?
Yes, you vote today.
Wow. So if I sign this, then I can go vote, right?
Yes.
This is the correct address.
Now all I got to do is sign this and then I can go vote, right?
Yes, you can.
So all I need to do is sign this and I can vote.
You actually fill it out.
So if that's all correct, then you sign right there.
So if I just sign this, then I can vote, right?
You're gonna take that, and you get in that line, and they'll give you your ballot.
Oh, perfect.
I got offered 20 ballots
Okay.
in
so
other
once I fill
people's
this out and
names.
sign this, I can go vote?
Yes.
And then it finally happened. Reason overcame the rules. Even though it is not required, these election officials wanted to see ID. They wanted to protect the system, and they had to break the rules to do it.
Last name is. First name is Daniel.
Your address?
It's the address is 603 Drive.
Show some type of ID, driver's license.
You do need to say driver's license?
Yes.
Okay, let me go to my car and get it. I'll be right back.
So when they actually asked me to show ID, I couldn't commit any fraud. So we did this 4 years ago, and we showed dead people voting in New Hampshire. The state legislature actually changed the law to require photo ID after our video. Now, we talk about immigration, and sometimes, you know, you don't need to do a big complicated investigation. You simply need to show an image to people. So someone, like I gave a speech, and someone in the audience said, why don't you just cross the Rio Grande River wearing a GoPro on your head? And then another person said, well, why don't you expose the terrorists can get into the country? So I combined the two ideas and dressed up like Osama bin Laden. And this is the Rio Grande River. I'm in Mexico crossing into the United States. Keep in mind that there are no federal border agents within miles. I mean, we actually saw a federal border patrol truck and chased after him, and he sped away.
He's back. Not Bin Laden, James O'Keefe.
This video, it's from the conservative watchdog group Project Veritas.
Waiting across the Rio Grande to show how easy it is to evade border security.
So, and we got a reaction from the state government of Texas, which prompted a reaction because ISIS saw this video and that we should do that. And the federal government then had to respond to ISIS. So we're literally using the tactics of Saul Alinsky against the Alinskyites. So we have so many stories going on. I only have another 5 or 7 minutes, but we got a clip of, for example, Hillary staffers showing a meme of Donald Trump to register Hispanic and undocumented voters. We released that video. They were using a graphic meme, which it's on the screen there. It's on our website. We also have people embedded in, we have people right now working for Hillary Clinton who are working for me. And they are Hispanic, they are black, they are women, they are educated in the language of Hillary Clinton and her supporters. And this is what we're doing. We're using investigative reporting. And in this case, in Nevada, we got one Hillary attorney, or Hillary Clinton attorney, Christina Gupana was her name, and she actually said, quote, do whatever you can, whatever you can get away with, just do it until you get kicked out. This is the statement by an attorney in Nevada, and the Nevada Secretary of State was forced to investigate this. And this person, Christina Gupana, we have no idea what happened to her. She just vanished. Maybe she went overseas or something. And, you know, we're trying to find out. The hardest part is I actually had to pose as a flower delivery boy and go to the office to say, hey, is Christina Gupana there? And, you know, we got to do whatever it takes to find out what's going on. And, of course, we get, as usual, the mainstream media to cover it. Time Magazine, many others, Clinton on alert for dirty tricks. They didn't call Mike Wallace's work dirty tricks. They didn't call Upton Sinclair or Lincoln Stevens or Nellie Bly or Geraldo Rivera dirty tricks. Those guys won Peabodys and Emmys and Pulitzers. Of course, there will be no Peabodys and Pulitzers and Emmy Awards, but what there will be are a lot of people losing their jobs after Project Veritas video. So in closing, I want to say that Americans are fed up. They're fed up with what's going on. They want to be hopeful for something. And I encourage everyone here to really think about what we're doing. This is not a movement to tell you what to believe. This is a movement to expose reality. And I think that we're trying to awaken a sleeping giant. I happen to love liberty and transparency, but I will expose anyone, Republicans, Democrats, I'll expose all of them if they deserve it. And I will say that everyone in this country, politicians are all on notice. We have people in your campaigns. We have people exposing the fraud. And I'm going to say that if you are lying, cheating, or stealing, we will make you an unwilling internet celebrity. Thank you.
Dude, I love it.
You want Q&A or?
We can take a few questions. Let's do 5 minutes. We'll do 5 minutes. All right, we're going to get a couple of quick questions. We're cheating a little bit, but that's all right. When we cheat, it's not dishonest. It's in the interest of Veritas. Let me run over here first. This gentleman's closer. Okay. All right.
He'll love this one.
Stand up. There you go.
I'm Bill Bates. How do we support what you do? You're a true patriot. This is the way to get them by the balls. How do we support you?
Well, thank you very much. You know, we have a website here. It's projectveritas.com. If you can pull up that first slide again. You know, we're a non-for-profit organization, and we're not a big media company. We don't have advertising, at least not yet. So all of your donations are tax exempt. That's the first way. The second way is to go to our website and submit a tip. And the third way is to actually put on one of those little hidden cameras and go out and do some reporting.
In that cell phone that I've been telling you all about, there's a reason for it. Smartphones are how you get it done.
James, I was able to meet the attorney for Hannah Giles in January 2010. And I have been concerned about Hannah, and I wonder if you can tell us how she's doing and what she's doing.
Yeah, thank you. Hannah worked with me on the ACORN story, and it was courageous because she sent me a Facebook note. I had never met her before, and she said, hey, why don't we do this thing? And we literally met each other on Facebook. She's currently, she's married. She lives in Texas, and she had a baby recently, so congratulations to Hannah.
All right, here we go.
James, my name's Guy Smith. I'm from North Carolina. I want to thank you for that video because I was able to share that with 14 members of the North Carolina State Election Committee in the State House.
Thank you.
As of Friday, federal judge upheld our voter ID law for the upcoming primary. So I just want to thank you for that.
By the way, I have a more important question. How was his accent as a North Carolinian?
Shaky.
We'll get the lady in the middle over here. See, James is getting me my exercise, not just on radio. I'm not just a pretty face.
One quick question.
Stand up. Yeah.
Would you consider being VP for one of our guys?
I will never run for office because I believe this stuff is in the end more effective. Educating Americans is more important.
All right. So remember what I said for all you Latin students out there. It's pretty easy to remember. Project Veritas is a great idea that you can replicate. You've got smartphones. I asked you to tweet. I asked you to spell this. Get it out of the echo chamber. Make sure that the world hears it. Tag the left. Tag Obama. Tag Hillary Clinton. Some of you have been tweeting quotes from our speakers. Make sure you tag Hillary Clinton when you talk about this. Make sure you tag ACORN. By the way, as James can tell you, they're not gone. They're reborn. So they're not giving up. And something that I've always said, and I know James has echoed this at times, Alinsky's tactics are effective. It's a matter of who is honest when they use them and to what end. James O'Keefe, thanks, brother.
Thank you.